once you put fear out there and put some light on it, it can't stand. It cannot be, it doesn't have power.
So, what are you saying? You need to speak your fear, and you need to speak it out loud. You need to share it with somebody. What are you saying?
Yeah, it says name the fear. When you see it.
How do I do that? I mean, do I need to have a close confidant that I can talk to name the fear? Do I need a therapist?
Well,
do I name it to myself?
You definitely can name it to yourself first, but also you can talk to a therapist or a good friend that you can trust. You don't want to be putting yourself out there to anybody. You could say, I really care about this relationship. And this is transparency in expressing yourself. I really care about this relationship, but it's hard for me to really trust fully. You see, I just told you, I loved this relationship. I like being in it, but I have a problem dealing with trust.
Okay, now, Teresa, here's a question I want to ask you. I hear exactly what you're saying, but my concern about that is that some people, well, I guess I'll ask in the form of a question. Can you be too transparent too soon?
I agree, 100%. This takes time.
So how do I know that our relationship has progressed to the point where I can be, like you just said a few minutes ago, I want to be totally transparent with you. How will I know when my relationship has gotten to the point that I can be that transparent?
Well, I think you both have to realize, okay, this is something we want, and we want to take it further and deeper, and we start to grow and build our lives together or our relationship.
So in other words, we have spent enough time together to know that this relationship is going somewhere.
Right. We want it to go somewhere. We want to take the next step.
And as part of that journey, now we need to start sharing at a deeper level, and at deeper levels than we have been. Okay, I follow you.
Right, because I'm trying to be real, because we are getting closer.
Yeah.
So yes, the transparency is important. Here's another one.
Okay.
When you withdraw, I feel anxious and I'm afraid I've done something wrong. So they take ownership of the other person's feelings. And you don't want to do that, but I'm glad you're telling me so that I'm putting that out there. I'm showing that fear. I'm exposing it to say I do feel anxious and afraid, but I just want you to know. And I really I'll tell the client, like, you need to take responsibility you can't take responsibility for how that person is feeling or dealing with something. You can talk about it with them, but don't take the responsibility of it. And that's what that person had done, in that example.
Okay, I got you. Another thing that you talk about sharing, and again, these would be deeper levels of sharing, is to share with somebody, and I know this is going to make some people uncomfortable, is sharing, hey, I need reassurance. Talk about that a little bit more, to kind of actually being comfortable enough to share that.
Right. Because you're saying, not because I doubt you, but because I'm still learning to feel secure with you. See, I don't trust you fully because I'm getting to know you.
And you shouldn't hurry to trust fully.
Right, exactly. So you're working your way in there, but that's what this behavior is looking like when you're getting to that secure place. Is you're sharing, you're communicating with. And Brene Brown says this: vulnerability is not weakness, it's the birthplace of connection. And that's what we want. I love connection. When we're connected, we feel safe, we're secure, and we can grow in a relationship.
Wow. This is really good information. Good information. So do you have some growth work things that you want to share or not?
Sometimes, we've done this when we do I feel statements.
Yeah. So one of the things that we coach to is when you are sharing something with someone, we talk about, you don't want to talk about starting with you.
Right.
You don't want to use words like never or always, But here's a tactic, an approach that nobody should argue with. When you do this, or am I starting right? Hey, Teresa, when you do this, it makes me feel.
Well, I don't like to make feel.
Okay, tell me.
Just
Okay,
say,
explain.
when you say harsh things, I feel
Like you don't care.
right. I feel that you don't care. I feel that you devalue me, or I feel that you, um, well, it can be hurtful. And those are my feelings. So and what I do is I'm taking ownership of how I feel and not saying you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that or you.
And then the other part of that is, therefore, I can't say, shouldn't say, it's not valid if I do say it, well, you shouldn't feel like that.
Right.
Because
Just validate my
yeah,
feelings.
yeah, because
So
you
how would you do that? How would you say?
hey Teresa, if I understand, I would probably repeat it. Let me make sure I understand what you're saying.
Good.
When I do, well, let's talk about a real example. When I
Say harsh things.
Yeah, when I say harsh things to you,
Uh-huh.
what I understand now. Wait a minute, why is that a real? Like you picked that as a real example.
Because sometimes you can be harsh.
Hey, slow your roll there, Teresa. So, but back to the example. These are some people that we know, friends of ours that do this, right? No, you're right. Sometimes I do say harsh things.
I do too.
I don't think I'm trying to be harsh, but that's not the point. Back to the exercise. Hey, Teresa, I appreciate you sharing that with me. What I understand you to say is, when I say harsh things to you, it makes you feel unappreciated. It makes you feel not loved.
Devalued.
It makes you feel devalued. Yeah.
And then you can say, well, that's maybe not how I intended to, and I'm sorry you feel that way.
And
what can I do?
Yeah, because what you don't want to do is
Not validate.
be defensive.
Right, and don't validate.
I don't say harsh things.
Right.
You know,
she's already said you do.
Yeah. Or we don't want to start in terms of what I think is harsh and what you think are harsh may be different. That's not the point. The point is, okay, I got you.
I'm sorry.
Good exercise.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So that would be one of the exercises.
We just had this situation on a recent road trip.
Yeah, we did.
On the phone situation.
Uh-huh.
Do we need to go any further?
No, you don't need to go any further.
Okay. All right.
So small small agreements that build safety. Some things you all can come together to talk about. For instance, so let's just say emotional security is built over time, and we just said that.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So, not in a grand gesture, but in small, consistent moments when trust is earned.
So there's no point in me trying
reinforced.
to take you to Fiji to expedite. There's nothing wrong with going to Fiji. I want to go to Fiji, actually.
Yeah, Bali too.
Yeah. But there's no point in me trying to do some big thing to pacify, apologize, or even draw you close.
Or build trust.
What I should be doing are little, and we're not saying don't do that.
Those things are good.
But this the consistent, everyday actions that make the difference.
Absolutely, that builds the trust.
So like for example, a person who works a lot, it's going to be difficult for you to throw in. This is especially true with kids. There was a huge thing going around a few years ago, maybe still going around, the whole thing about quality time. So I know I can't spend a lot of time with my spouse, my kids, but the quality time is key. Well, that's not true. I don't believe that to be true.
Right.
I believe that the time that we spend is more important. 8 hours a week just walking, doing life talks, and just living life together is more important than I'm going to take an hour where I'm only going to focus on just this one thing. So, okay.
Yeah.
I got what you're saying.
So some of these small agreements can look like, you could say something like, you might respond in a text when you say you will, or, do respond, be kind, do that. Follow through with a promise or boundary. You can do that.
Okay.
Check in emotionally when something feels off.
Okay.
Just checking in. Being honest, even when it's uncomfortable. Do that.
Okay. And then I've heard you say that safety, and we're talking about building trust.
Mhm.
Safety isn't declared. Hey, you're safe here. It's demonstrated.
Exactly.
Safety isn't declared. It's demonstrated.
Exactly.
Hey, I can. What's that saying? I see better than I hear.
Okay, I don't know
I don't know if
that.
that's true or not,
I don't know that
but I've
saying.
heard people say that. I see better than I hear. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So why does this really matter, right?
Okay,
We
tell me.